So I have a question for two or three people. What did you come up with? And then I have a couple of questions about it. Who'd like to share one truly unreasonable thing you did in your life?
Harvey's got his hand up. Harvey.
At the age of 42, I did the S training, walked out of medicine, and started my life all over again. That's all.
Great. And Harvey, I'm going to actually ask you a couple of questions. What had it be unreasonable for you?
What had to be unreasonable was that I've never run into anybody else that walked out of medicine ever.
And
that last part of the Sunday night of the S training, I discovered that I was a legitimate part of the human race, and I didn't think I was.
So Harvey, here's a couple. Two questions. Unreasonable because nobody does this, but unreasonable for you.
Yes.
How come? For you personally, who cares whether anybody else did it or not?
Well, Gordon, all I can tell you is that at the end of that year, 23 months, I was worth minus $13,000. I had no job, and I still had a wife and 5 kids to support. And I went back into medicine and did it my way, specializing in a specialty where people said I would starve to death, and I haven't. I developed the largest practice in the country. So I don't know. There's something about being with Warner where you just dare do the shit you don't dare do.
Yeah. And it's also something about being with you. You chose to do something you didn't dare do.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you one last question, then we'll go to the next thing. What did you discover out of that? Forget about, okay, then you came back and you became very successful and all of that. But what did you discover out of stepping out of your cocoon of being...
And I could be totally responsible for my life, and whether or not anybody agreed with me didn't make any difference. It was for me to say, and I've never shifted in that.
Right. And it altered your life, am I correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally altered my life. The S training was the most transforming thing I'd ever done, and like that, and it set a model for me.
It's beautiful. Harvey, well, I'm going to have you I said would have 3 people share. You shared for everybody. And
Thank you.
there are 2 points I want to make. One is, what's unreasonable? There is no is unreasonable. It's not third-person verifiable, epistemological, objective reality.
Yes.
It's unreasonable because it's unreasonable for you. What's unreasonable for you may not be unreasonable for me.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
That's one point. The second point is, look what altered in the world out of your taking that high-risk jump from your medical cocoon. So that's all I want to say here. We're going to go to a slideshow about unreasonable and reasonable, which Mark Sullivan worked with me to put together. He did a brilliant job. It is, the title of this is Boxed In to Freedom. And my guess is, Harvey, you had even though you had all those breakdowns, you had an experience of freedom you never had before. Okay, so next slide. So we have the 9 dots. And many of you have seen the 9 dots. If you haven't, I'd ask you to do this exercise with me right now. If you have a pen and a paper, and what there is to do is draw the 9 dots. They're all equidistant. It looks like that. Okay, I figure if you're doing that, yeah, you have it done by now. So my question is, and I'm going to repeat my instructions twice, and then you start, and you'll have 30 seconds to get it done. So the instruction is connect all 9 dots with 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines, never lifting your pencil or pen. Connect all 9 dots with 4 straight lines, never lifting your pen. Start. Mark's on a count to 30 seconds. All right. Well, it's going to be a little bit difficult to, Mark, can you stop screen share for a second?
I believe I can.
And then put it right back on in an instant. I'd like to see 1 or 2 people. What did you come up with? However,
This is not my normal. Sorry.
okay, but is that too much, Mark? Should we stay on?
Yeah,
Okay,
for now.
so go back to slideshow. I'll tell everybody what just about everybody comes up with. I know some of you who lead transformational work have probably done this hundreds of times. I've done it with people that are geniuses, as well as people that have very little education, and it doesn't matter the intelligence. Okay, you're close, Mark. We'll get to slideshow.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what people come up with, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, missed that one. Another way that people come up with is 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, missed 2 that way. So there'll be various iterations of that. Go to the next slide, please. And what we see when we see 9 equidistant dots is we see box. But there's no box there. This is how you solve the puzzle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's outside the box. It's outside the 9 dots. There we see box here, but there's no box there. There's just 9 dots. And I never tried it with indigenous people who are not part of our culture. My guess is they'd be able to solve it easily. I don't know. In our culture, we see box. So we have this as a metaphor, and there are many ways of looking at the metaphor. I mean, many things that this can speak to metaphorically, but we're going to use it in terms of unreasonable and reasonable. So here, most everybody does not know that when they see 9 dots, they see box. And they're seeing boxes them in. They're blind to the barriers that keep them in the box. There's no way out. They don't even know that it's there. But they can sense that they're boxed in. So, next slide. So inside the box, and we put management. We go from the present to the future, or maybe the past to the present to the future. It requires reliability. It's important to be reliable inside the box. You go ahead and read the words, please, Mark.
Sure. So it's also management is more about, again, present to the future. So starting where we are, how do we get a little more, a little better, a little different? You want to be replicable, be able to repeat things, be accurate, be predictable. That can lead to a high success level, and it's reasonable.
So inside that box, it's reasonable. And it's past based, more, better, different based on the past. That's where scalability comes from. This iPhone right here, guess what? Inside the box, it would never be in a billion people's hands if it weren't for excellent work inside the box. But inside the box is not where the iPhone came from. Okay, so what's outside the box? We're going to start with, we're calling it here leadership. And leadership outside the box comes from the future to the present, not from the present or the past to the future, but standing in a future possibility back to the present. Like where you had to go and solving the 9 dots. Go ahead, read the words outside.
Something like a created future, right? Like landing a man on the moon and back. They didn't start from where they were. They didn't know how they were going to get there, but that was the future, and then they worked back from that.
Yeah, being a man on the moon. For those of you who were around by the end of 1969, and it was specific 3 steps on the moon and returned safely. Go ahead, please.
So outside the box, you have freedom. You can do a lot more things because you're not just trying to be reasonable. But that endures risk and requires courage and can result in frequent failure. Might give you sweaty palms. It might look impossible. And you might run into that you don't know that you don't know. Like you didn't know that you saw a box instead of 9 dots. And you didn't know that you didn't know. And it might make you uncomfortable, and it may really seem unreasonable.
And we're talking about unreasonable action, and in language, that's promises and requests. So I want to focus on 3 things here. You got the idea. Then we're going to put you back in groups to have you create some unreasonable promises and requests that you say will take some territory in restoring our climate. So the first is that created future, from the future back to the present. That opens up a whole world that you wouldn't see otherwise. Steve Jobs, guess what? He was out there. I never met it. Well, I did meet him to shake his hand, but I was an executive for Computerland, and we were creating computer retailing when he was creating a computer that could be retailed. And he started in that future. He had no idea, but it was a possibility, and his stand for that was so stellar and outstanding, right? So then what pulls us into the box? So we may be outside the box, operating out there in unreasonable territory. What pulls us back into the box? I'd like somebody shout out what pulls you back into the box.
What?
Certainty.
Yeah. Uncertainty,
Fear.
Habit.
fear, habit. So right here we have frequent failure. If you're operating outside the box and you're not failing, what the hell are you up to? Do a little chat GPT on where Steve Jobs failed, failure after failure after failure. But the context was, oh, that's the next step toward fulfilling my possibility. We want to go back where it's safe. It's uncomfortable. I have a mantra
You
for
are operating.
I have a mantra for myself, and it is, Gordon, if you find yourself being comfortable,
You are
warning,
operating
warning,
inside the box,
warning.
and you are not.
So now, unreasonable promises, request, unreasonable action. And I want to say 2 things. So why don't we make unreasonable promises? Same thing. If we make an unreasonable promise and then we fail, and almost certainly we will fail at least on the way there, Oh, we don't want to fail. What does that say about us? It attacks our identity, and so we mealy mouse around unreasonable promises and make them vague, and so we don't fail. And I want to say one other thing about requests. Why don't we make unreasonable requests? Here's what I discovered. I discovered that I was bullshitting myself. I didn't make unreasonable requests of other people because I thought that would make them uncomfortable. I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. Guess what? It's over here. When I started looking at my life, I flourished when people made unreasonable requests of me. And when I don't make a request of somebody because I think, oh, it may upset them, it's unreasonable because I'm not comfortable in handling their upset. So that was very powerful. And I've discovered the magic of making unreasonable requests. And I do it all the time. How come? So I get practiced in that way. And there's one other thing that I have to say about this part. No, I'm not going to say it. So you get the idea of discovering what your barriers are to jumping outside the box and discovering what pulls you into the box once you're outside there. Your palms aren't sweaty, then what the hell are you doing? I'm saying that to this group. Okay, next slide, or is that it?
Well, just that there's
Oh,
another
yeah,
box.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
So once you start working outside the box, if you do this well enough and long enough, it just becomes reasonable and predictable and replicable. And you have a whole new box that you have to start working outside of. So you have to be conscious of that as well.
Yeah. It becomes business as usual. So what does that tell you? Sorry, folks, this is a lifelong journey. This is
Okay,
from
thank you.
Werner Erhard from the 1980 shot heard around the world. We can choose to be audacious enough to take responsibility for the entire human family. We can choose to make our love for the world what our lives are really about. Each of us has the opportunity and the privilege to make a difference in creating a world that works for all of us. It will require courage, audacity, and heart. If not you, who? If not now, when? And if not here, where? Okay, we're going to move you in now into breakout rooms and have you talk rather than me talk. And the question is, since the only thing that ever changed the world was unreasonable action, what unreasonable action are you willing to take in order to forward restoring our climate in time? I say in time because we need to restore our climate before it takes care of us. So what unreasonable action are you willing to take in order to forward fulfilling on the possibility of restoring our climate and restoring it in time? By when will you take it? And what barriers will you need to transcend? So what action will you take? What barriers will you need to transcend to take it? And this is a group of 3, and you'll have 9 minutes, and you'll have a 1-minute warning. Okay, I'd like to hear from 2 people. Unfortunately, we can't hear from a whole lot. 2 people. And my question is, what actions are you taking? And what are you going to have to transcend? One of what are those invisible barriers are you going to have to transcend to take that unreasonable action?
Okay. Right now, I'm working on a project. There's Mike Thompson, the congressman from Napa, has a resolution on the floor of Congress that's about climate restoration. And I'm writing letters to congressmen. We're all supposed to be writing to our congressmen. I'm writing to all of them. I've sent 62 out already today, working from the congressional website that has them by state in alphabetical order. Before this meeting started, I just finished North Carolina. So getting people to do this, just their one congressman, also you can email, is been more of a challenge than I anticipated from this group.
Right. And what barrier did you have to transcend to make it happen, or are you continuing to transcend?
Well, there's entropy at first, but then the barrier, there's something about the character, the attitude of people in this group or similar people, they don't like to be admonished. And, but this is one of those chores they got to do. And I don't have resentment, but in my mind, came to me from the St. Crispin's Day speech in Henry V to how that, hey, if you don't have the stomach for this, then we're going to give you money and book your passage back to England because we don't want you with us. That wells up in me because this is so critical, so important that it can't be handled like a hobby or a sunny day fling. This is a critical thing.
So that was one of the points that I failed to make. Standing in that created future actually gives you what you need to do the totally unreasonable and audacious things. That's been my experience all along. You just demonstrated that. That's beautiful. One other person, please.
Joan.
Okay. Diane Morrison and me and the rest of the fundraising committee for the Foundation for Climate Restoration created an unreasonable budget for 2026 of $250,000. Our yearly budget is about $90,000. My palms are sweaty. I am so uncomfortable. And I like to win. I don't like to fail. I'd like to be asking for smaller amounts of money than 10 or 20 or $50,000. So kind of settling in to being comfortable with that, about not being comfortable.
Fabulous. That's great. Okay. And then pretty soon the dotted line will come up again, but that's great. Let me say two things. I'd like to but I'm not going to take more. There are two things I'd like to say. One is get a committed listener. When you have a commitment that's outside the box, it's not comfortable, the inexorable pull to come back in the box and be comfortable and not take the risks and not have your palms sweaty is really strong. And it's in a whole arena. You don't know. And pretty soon you'll be back in there. Get somebody to hold you to account for the promise that you just made. And the second thing is, how many of you have as an action, invite a climate denier to dinner? For most of us, that's like, oh, we invite to dinner the people that we agree with. That's comfortable and it's fun. However, it's the climate deniers that must be enrolled that we need to bring in, and we are one. We're all on this planet together. Consider having authentic communication and listen authentically to some climate deniers as an unreasonable action that you will take. Okay, we have a couple of quotes and then turning it over to you, Julia, to wrap up. Mark?
Okay, quotes for you to think about. The worst walls are never the ones you find in your way. The worst walls are the ones you put there. By Ursula K. Le Guin. Another quote. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? George Bernard Shaw, Back to Methuselah. And of course, Robert Kennedy made that famous. One more. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wow. Wow.
And then finally, the reasonable man adopts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. George Bernard Shaw.
And of course, he would say unreasonable man and woman. And today, and that's you. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Julia, take it away.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming here and making this possible. I did get from Gordon, he has another masterclass up his sleeve, and I haven't yet asked him, but I could corner him right now in front of you. Would you be willing to do another one? And you said the topic was?
Oh, I'm not sure it's the right topic. Oh, the topic is the difference between predictable, possible, and pipe dream.
Anybody interested in that topic? What's predictable, what's possible, and what's actually a pipe dream?
Sure. Yeah.
Great, great. Okay, well, we are going to close on time, and I want to thank everybody for being here today. I invite each and every one of you to go into the chat and click on the link that's there. It is the F4CR Sign the Pledge. It is committing yourself to restoring the climate restored. It's stepping into the game for yourself. So if you haven't done that, please sign the pledge. It has taken off in the last 6 to 9 months. We have 57,000 people who have signed the pledge, and we're committed to having 1 million signatures. And that means people standing for the climate restored. And on it, it'll give you, you can go to the website, you can find out what we have. We invite you to come, and these are weekly calls, and we will send you a follow-up letter to invite you to our weekly community calls where people like Dennis Scherzer have a place to take action and committed listening, and to just have a community to be a part of. It's not something you have to come to every week, but it's a community that you begin to know you belong to, that you really belong to the conversation for the climate restored. And you don't have to be a climate specialist or anything. You know, we're all in this together, ensuring a thriving environment for future generations. So we will send you, if you haven't gone into the chat, we'll send you how to sign the pledge in our follow-up letter as well. And I just want to thank all of you, and thank you for everything you're about to do and will continue to do to ensure this lovely world is thriving for the future.